Hello, and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hello, and welcome to the Handicapable. Okay, well, this is dating nightmares, but yeah, let's just say a lot of people don't like my standards. And, well, I'll get over it because, especially as a grown woman, and a grown woman who has been through so much, I think I know the type of guy that I would want to pursue. And I know a lot of men with their egos say the man is supposed to go for the woman. Well, a lot of the men who have tried to come for me, I don't want. I don't. And one of the reasons is because they can't have quality conversation. They don't know how to, like, even go outside of themselves. And this one video, like, I've been listening to a few videos lately, especially when it comes to communication with men and male expectations. And one of the things that, even when in my, like, I keep comparing my church lately because I grew up in the church every Sunday, having to wake up really early to go to early service, and or sometimes the Wednesday services and things. And it's like sometimes they would have their relationship sermons. And one sermon that happened either this summer or last summer, but actually, because my pastor's on and off has been teaching about it a lot since his divorce. Yeah, I'm petty. But one of the things he tries to preach on is what women want. And I think it was like the four S's, like security and some other stuff. Half of it was just like, no, no, it's like, I get where you're coming from, but yeah, but then when he got to the women, that's, I already knew that I probably needed to leave this church and or the church family because it's an extension of his father's church. But when he got to what the men want, and he said the men want the three B's, and he said that a man wants a woman who is well read in the Bible. I didn't say books, I said the Bible. She has to know the Bible really well. And then he said, well, ladies, you know what the other two B's are. And it was like, he was like, or I think there was another B, but he was like, but he was like, can I get an amen, men? And it was disgusting because, ladies, we all know it's like well, you know the proper words, but basically, our behinds and our chests is basically all the men want. And one reason why I added must be able to have deep conversations and able to learn and be adventurous is because a lot of men might be willing to do that amongst each other. But when it comes being able to do that with a woman, a lot of men are not capable of doing. And one reason is because, well, MAGA is proving it right now. They only see us as property. They only see us as our bodies for the youthful beauty or whatever type of beauty or sexual needs that they can gain from us. That's basically all they see in us, which is one reason why they're bragging and saying, your body, our choice right now. And with a lot of dates, it's it's not shocking, but it's just a man isn't into the conversation, or, well, I should say, a lot of men always want to start the conversation with either how many inches he is, or how long he will last, or He wants to ask your position, like, the questions, and and I'm not saying they always started like that, but maybe on Meet Me, Plenty of Fish, and Scout, a lot of them want to start the conversation like that. And it's like just dating, period. And I'm not going to say that women don't have an appetite for that, because we do. We're human. But at the same time, like, because I'm very flirty and I'm bubbly, I'm flirty. Sometimes people think I'm flirting with them, but I'm just being bubbly. But since yeah, to me, I'm, anyways, like, yeah, because even on here, I'm not my full bubbly, like, dry humor. Because, yeah, some of my jokes might go a little too far. So, but anyway, it's like, I still remember there were like a couple years ago, there was a guy streaming, and I was, kind of chatting with him, but then he went to chat off screen. Next thing I know, he was like, "Oh, I'm so into you," and I'm like, "But don't know anything about me." And this is an example of how bad conversations can get, because he has snakes and reptiles, which fine, okay, it was interesting, but then he wanted me to call him. I've met quite a few men who want me to call them while they're playing their video games. And then they want me to just listen to them while they're yelling. And, oh, yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, it's like, you know how it is. You know how the game is and everything. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. It's like, oh, we just won or lost or whatever. And it's just like, okay, can I just talk to you later? Oh, right now isn't a good time for you? Right now isn't a good time for you. It's like a lot of men, they just think that women want to hear their barbaric play, and or it's like we are supposed to just call them while they're doing things that we get nothing out of it. And some ladies might want to. It's like, do you, boo? I'm not one of them. And I think that's one reason why some guys, they because I've already lost interest in them, and they lose interest in me, because it's like we can't get into conversation. Or sometimes when I try, like, while they're playing, I'm like, okay, so, like, how was your day? Oh yeah, it was cool. Yeah, what up? Yeah. And it's just like, okay, didn't get anything out of that. So I'm not getting to know you. I'm just listening to you play. And then while I'm listening to you play, I'm hearing your colleagues, and some of them are yelling the N word. I remember specifically one time I heard someone yell out the N word, and I was like, "Excuse me?" He was like, "Oh no, that was one of the other guys." I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna let you go." He was like, "No, no." He was like, "Oh, that's just a word. Calm down. I'm just gonna let you go." And then he was just like, "Okay, okay, guys, hold on." And he was like, "Are you really gonna be a sissy like that? You can't take a word?" I was just like, you know what? If that's just a word, I'll leave you to that word. It's like, and I told him a few things, and then hung up and blocked him. And it's like, it's really crazy how men's ego, because they don't want the woman to block. How dare a woman block him? So then he uses his twin brother's phone number to call me, and then starts leaving some of the worst voicemails. And then there was another guy who, oh, this is another example of another twin. But there's another twin, and I just remember how for a full half hour he was talking about how much he loves raisins in his oatmeal. I am so serious, a full half hour. Because I remember I put my phone down, put it on speaker, and started typing, trying to, like, get, like, one of my chapters finished. And he was talking about raisins and oatmeal. And I'm just like, for the love of God, like, okay, duly noted. Are you trying to hint to me, like, if we ever got into a serious relationship, that you want me to make you oatmeal with raisins every morning? Like, what are you doing? And so it's like, so trying to start, like, I remember I was trying to ask him what was his favorite sports, or some of the other interests and things like that. And somehow it always ended up being back on oatmeal or raisins or something. Just, I was just to the point where I'm just like, are you kidding me? Really? All right. Um, no comment. I have no words to say, but okay. And so, anyways, I just remember I stopped calling him. And at one point, he was just like, "You can't tell me you lost interest in me. It's like, you saw my six pack. You see what I'm working with." And that's one thing I can't stand. And then, if a lady doesn't ask you to send those pictures, and especially if a woman asks you not to send those pictures, don't send them. I don't know how many times men says, "Oh, I know you'll go out with me once you see it," and then I say, "Don't send it." Then they send it. Then I'm disgusted, and then they yell at me or call me out my name because I am not going to follow along with what they want after they did something I told them not to do. And I don't know, it's just crazy. Isn't that crazy? And like, oh yeah, I just recorded a video where instead of a man writing me how many inches he is, he needs to send me what grade level his reading is. Okay, because yeah, it goes up to 12 too. So, and the average reading grade level in America is fifth grade and below. Actually, it's around 3.5, but fifth grade, like 54% of the country is fifth grade and below. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of fifth grade level men out there. And so they don't want to type that out. So they might start reading, or they might start getting hooked on phonics and things like that. You know. But it's because, yeah, that's one thing that really annoys me is when men think that all I have to do is send her my inches and then she'll be all over me. And with my dating standards, I'm a sapiosexual. So, yeah, that's a person who I'm attracted to intelligence. And that's one reason why on my list I have deep conversations, because a lot of men, a lot of time they say women talk too much. They want them to shut up and things like that, or that women won't leave them alone. Sapio men aren't like that, or at least for the most part. I don't know how MAGA Sapio men are, because I only date Sapio, like Democratic, liberal, progressive men. But it's like, I remember there was one guy who I was talking to, and we literally had documentary assignments for each other, because I just saw a documentary online. It was a criminal one where it was a school, a private school with nuns and everything, and a lot of stuff was going on. One of the nuns were boom boom bang banged, and then it's like, or she was missing and stuff. But then they found out that a lot of uh, pathetic things were going on within the school, because cops, priests, and a lot of, like, when MAGA says it's the trans community, the LGBTQ you're supposed to be scared of, but then instead it's actually the cops and the priests and everything that are doing the activity that they say that the trans and LGBTQ, because I watched the Boy Scouts documentary, then that one murder mystery one, and then there was a third one. Oh, the one where, like, it wasn't the same exact school that Paris Hilton went to, but it's a similar one. It was a full documentary on the type of schools, and they were talking about It's like, and it's run, or a lot of the money is from, I believe, the Texas Republican, like, politicians. I have his face in my head, but I can't remember his name. But I just, anyway, I remember that we started talking about documentaries, and I mentioned that one. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, it sounds so interesting." And he was like, "What's the name of it?" And so I went on Netflix and stuff I was looking for and found it. And he just watched one. And so he sent me like the one he just watched. And so we gave each other homework to both watch it, to watch each other's documentary. And then the next day we talked about them. And it was absolutely amazing conversation. And it's like, that's the kind of connection I would love. But most men, how big is your chest? Are you really that thick? Oh, it's like, if you're shaped like that, I could go all night. Yeah, that, like, do you want to see it? That kind of garbage. And then when I say no, or when I try to ask them questions or ask them what their goals are. Because, yeah, when I ask a guy what his three goals are, and one of them is that he wants me in his bed by the end of the weekend, and it's Friday, and that's the first time we talked was Friday. Yeah, I'm not interested. But then when I start talking about my goals and wanting to run a business and things like that, that irritates them. They hate that because that shows that I want independence. That shows that I am, like, goal oriented and like going above and beyond my own expectations and things. And they hate that. And they don't want conversation about that because that's going to be guided beyond them. They are not going to be a part of that conversation. But also, a lot of men, especially MAGA men, they love mansplaining or telling me how I'm supposed to run my business. They tell me how I'm supposed to write my book and how my characters are not supposed to be black because no one's going to read them. And my character has a disability. Why on earth would I give my main character a disability? If my main character was a real person, they would hate me. Do you know how traumatizing that is? Because I have a disability. And that's another thing. Like, a lot of men, like, I tell the guy I have a disability, and the documentary guy, yeah, it's like, at first it was cool with him and everything, but then he found, like, I have met 3 or 4 different guys who they said I was great and amazing, but then one, like, with my disability, they tried to find a version of me without the disability. And especially during COVID, like 2 or 3 months later, like two of them literally told me they found a version of me that can walk, or a version of me that can go upstairs easily. And they don't care if it hurts or not. They really don't. But these are American men. These are the men that we have to choose from, and it's pretty pathetic and disgusting. But with the documentary guy, yeah, he even, like, because he said, the conversation with you was so much better, but I need somebody that I don't have to be scared of or worried about, because I always think I'm going to hurt you, and I don't want to hurt you. And I feel like you're going to be fragile, and basically everything leading to, he doesn't know if what he can do with me in the bedroom and things like that. And it's just like, wow, pretty insulting, but and pretty just naive. And but I'm like, whatever, whatever. But I will admit, it's like, if I can, with a lot of men, they don't want to talk to us. They only want to shove it in there. Hope, like, some of them want a baby, some of them don't want a baby. Some will run off if they make the baby, and then some of them will run off and then come back later, like when they're a teenager and they're no longer having to do the diapers and a lot of the, like, teaching them to read, walk, and all the other some of the harder things or whatever. But then some of them come back and then blame it on the woman, even though the guy left. And that's another topic for another day. But sometimes I feel when, even with MAGA world, and I call it that because 54% of the country voted for him. And a lot of the men knew, they know about how he just can't control himself. He just wants to grab women by the kitty. They heard him say this and they like it. They love it. They want to be that. And that's one reason why men don't want to hear what we have to say. This is one reason why I've said in other videos, men tell me to my face over the phone, why would a man want a smart woman? They don't want us to talk. This is one reason why a lot of men talk about themselves throughout dinner, because they don't think we will have anything to say. They think that we are birthing units. They think we are just a pretty face to brag about, to walk around with. That is all we will ever be to them. And so while dating and talking to guys, be careful. I, at my age, I've kind of learned, just get my businesses together, just get myself together so that I can adopt and foster, because I can't, like, especially with my disability, I can't trust men. And there are some men who loved my business ideas, but they only loved my businesses because they wanted to quit their jobs and stay home. And then they wanted me to do all of the work. And they have kids. One of them would even say, well, if you're my girl, that means he's your son too. No, no, no. And then he starts yelling at me. He literally started yelling at me, trying to boss me around, gaslighting me, telling me, if you love me, that means you love my kid. And that reminded me of Mr. No Heart, because with Mr. No Heart, and like, he has two daughters, but the youngest one's heartless. If you say that's mean, I've got stories for days. Like, I already did two episodes about how she treated me, but I have so many more. So many, like, because her family members would literally say, but she's so cute. Oh, she'll stop acting bad at some point. If you keep allowing her to be bad, but then you say she's so cute, so then you let her off because you don't want to spank her because she's so cute. Yeah, that's how you create nightmares. That's how you create literal nightmares. But anyway, my ex, Mr. No Heart, told me, you have to love my daughters, but they don't have to like you. And I just posted a video about a week ago, about when he threatened to break up with me, because at the beginning of the relationship, I told him that I want to be a foster parent or adopt. And he was like, yeah, okay. But then it's like, he knew, like, I was going through some hard stuff at that time, trying to get my life together, job wise or whatever. Because, yeah, it's like I was working. I was I was a promotional model, but my walking was getting worse. But then I had a long-term promotional job. But then the company went haywire because people within the company were cheating. Oh my gosh! And oh, when I say cheating, I've got stories for days with this one. But they fired the entire team, and so I had to look for other work and stuff. But this is right when I found him, and he was also looking for work. But once I found work, and then I found a second job, and then a third, like, kind like option of work or whatever, he was upset because I started saving money. I paid off my credit cards, and I was starting to pay off my student loans, and I was starting to invest my money, and I was starting to save for a mortgage for a house. Yeah, I had three jobs. I was working and doing my thing. I think he thought I would never get to my goals. And so it's kind of, well, I just know like one weekend I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm gonna be saving for a house, and in a couple years, maybe a few years, I'm gonna be able to start adopting and being a foster mom. And he threatened me. He literally threatened to break up with me if I did that. So that's one reason why I have my standards, I have my list. And MAGA's really even mean with that standard. I will have a whole episode on that one, but when MAGA men are like, I'm glad you can't have kids. You would probably take them to drag shows. Oh, I'm glad you can't have kids. You're a R word liberal. And it's like, you shouldn't be having kids in the first place. And I'm just like, wow. The reason I don't have kids is because I grew up in the church, and at the church they said you're not supposed to have kids until you're married. So I was trying to do it the traditional way, but then I kept dating awful men to the point where I can still have kids, but I don't want to get married anymore. I'm tired of the men. I'm tired of the options because they're awful. For me, they're awful. You guys might find a match, but as a female black woman with a disability, and also a lot of the men hate that I have my degrees, my certifications, and things like that. They hate that. A lot of them hate my business ideas. Some say I'm crazy or stupid, or I'm not, or I'm gonna put you out to dry, black men. But a lot of black men, you guys say I'm not being black enough, I'm trying to be white. Yeah, this is America. And I know why some of the black men voted for Trump. I do. Because some of the things the black men tell me, I get it. And that's another reason why I don't like a lot of the men try to say I'm a bigot because I say that I will not date MAGA Republican or Trump supporter. But part of me was just like, there's black Republican, there's black MAGA too, there's Hispanic MAGA, and like, so how am I a bigot? I will never date any of them either. They like because a lot of them automatically connect white with MAGA. And so they're actually kind of the bigots, racists, sexist, like ableist, no good. Like I can go on, but anyway, this is America. These are our options. I think I've retired because I'm tired of being disappointed. And I'm tired of putting out energy that should be going out towards my goals. Because I should have been having my books out years ago. But I kept dating men who kept telling me, oh, you better not do it that way. Why are you doing this? Oh, who's gonna read that kind of book? Oh, it's fantasy. Black people don't read fantasy. Why are you writing a fantasy? And yeah, but so next time, or ladies, when you are out there dating and a guy tries to tell you how many inches he is, ask him what grade level he is at reading. Ask him what his reading grade level is. Maybe that'll change things up a little. Maybe that'll change the type of men that brag. Maybe things will start going into reverse. So, but this is the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human, and you're human too. And check these guys' reading levels. Let's go.